Hey everyone, so today I have this Apple Portrait display, and on this video I'm going to show you how to open it, and I also want to try to recap. I'm going to see if I can fit it on this video or not, how to recap this Apple Portrait display. I am doing this because of course the display is quite old and I'm having some issues with some artifacts that the display is showing. So let me show you real quick what I'm trying to tell when I say that there are some artifacts. So let me zoom in to this. So as you can see, if you notice, the folders, for example, are not complete, not like completely. And now if I move it a little bit to the right, you can see that they are like completely, the image is complete. So it's kind of strange. Same happens when I go to the Finder. I can barely read what version of system is or the RAM, but if I move it a little bit, I can see that it's 6.0.8, more or less. So that's what I'm gonna be trying to fix. So we have 4 Phillips screws, 2 here and 2 here. So I'm gonna take them out. Right, next I'm gonna take out the AC input assembly. So it's quite straightforward. This moves a little bit to the right, this to the left. Now I have 2 connectors that I need to take out. So I'm taking this one, and this one I'll just unscrew it real quick. All right, next I'm taking the input signal assembly, which is this one. So again, quite straightforward. I have just this cable here and this cable here, this connector, and also this one. So this is the input circuit board, as you can see in here. So another thing out. All right, next I'm gonna take out the fan. All right, so next I'm gonna take out the video board. So according to the manual, it says that we have to disconnect all of this cabling in here. So I'm gonna start with that. So there's a screw in here that we need to take out. This, I should be able to take this out. All right. And then also the video board has some connections underneath that we have to take care of. So I'm gonna be doing that. Also, I'm gonna remove this air in here. Then I can flip the board and also remove the cabling in here. And finally the one underneath. There you go. So now we have the video board in here. All right, so I'm gonna remove this, and to remove this I'm gonna liberate all the connectors to this board. Next I'm gonna take also this one out, but I'm gonna take it from the analog board, and it goes like this. All right, according to the service manual, it says that I have to loosen a screw that secures the neck to the board, so I'm just gonna do that. Yes, actually that will work. There you go. Sorry about the, yes, you have to take this out and then the board comes out. And there we have the CRT board out. And finally, I'm gonna remove the power sweep board, which is this one. So I'm gonna remove the CRT. Now there are two screws, one in here and one in here, that I'm gonna remove. So we move it back, and then it should just come out like so. I'm going to remove this earth here, and whoops. Oh, okay, that's nice to see. Finally, I'm going to remove this in here. And now we have the power sweep board. All right, so there you have it. We have now the portrait display disassembled, and we have several boards, but the main ones that I will be recapping are the sweep board, the video board, and the CRT board. All right, so a couple of days, actually a week has passed since I ordered all the caps, which are contained in here: the sweep board, the signal board, and the neck board. And I have the caps in here for the signal board and for the sweep board. And unfortunately, I forgot to record the recap on the neck board, but this is the easiest one. This only has 6. And next, what we're going to be doing is carrying on with the signal board to change all of these capacitors. So let's get to the bench and let's get to it. Okay, so these are the capacitors that I need to change for the signal board, as you can see in here. So what I'm going to do is to remove this cover from the signal board. So it has like these latches over here that you can just like take out, and then it should come out. But I just also noticed that there's like a screw in here, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and recapped this. It took me a while actually, and I was gonna jump to the sweep board, but I am not going to do so. And I even have the caps in here, and the reasoning behind is because the capacitors in here are rated for 105 Celsius, and the majority of the ones that I got are rated for 85 Celsius. So I don't feel comfortable, and even though I know that they will just work and it shouldn't be a problem, I just don't feel comfortable using that on the long term. It's worth noting that also the neck board has 3 capacitors that are rated for 105, and I changed them to 85 Celsius, and I don't feel really comfortable with it. So I'm just not gonna recap the sweep board, and I'm going to start mounting all the hardware and testing the CRT. It really sucks because it's quite involved, but on the bright side, the sweep board is quite straightforward to take it out. So I am going to looking to order the missing capacitors that I have and get right to it. So let's go and assemble the monitor. All right, so I have finally assembled the monitor. A couple of days have passed and I have done two changes. I flipped the fan. I assembled it inverted, and the video card is a different one. The reasoning behind is because I got told on the Discord a couple of days after I started disassembling this, that the issue with the image, it could be mainly the video card. So I changed it. It works on another monitor that I have, so most likely will work on this one. The thing is, we need now, since we changed caps in the neck and in the signal board, we need to do what it's called the geometry adjustment. So I'm gonna be doing that and recording this. You should be really careful because these are high voltages that are happening in the monitor, like everyone says. I'm saying it as well. And yeah, let's get right to it. Let's start doing the geometry adjustments, and let's hope I can get this back to how it was. All right, so I have turned on the machine. I'm gonna turn on the monitor, and what we need to do, the first thing that the service manual says is that you have to make sure that the distance from here to here is 8 inches or 203 millimeters. So there's an app called Display Service Utility. I'm gonna leave a link down below. And it basically has a bunch of patterns that lets you adjust some settings. So in order to organize the size, we do it through this hole that says H size. So it should be 8 inches. So I have this piece of paper, which is 8 inches actually, and pretty much a spot on. It's 8 inches, so I am just not gonna modify this. So this is good. Then we move to adjusting the center. So by the looks of it, it looks like it's a little bit towards the right. So I'm gonna be moving it. All right, next, it says to measure the margin and make sure that the margin is around 8 millimeters. So I'm gonna be doing that. So the second potentiometer sets the margin. So from size to size, we have to make sure that we measure 8 millimeters. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's do that. Okay, I'm happy with that. All right, so the next order of business is the height. So I have to leave around, it has to be 276 millimeters of height. So I'm gonna be doing that. So it looks a little bit down. I'm gonna be moving it towards up. Yep, it looks good. All right, so that's the height. Okay, so next I'm going to go and set up the vertical linearity. It's this one. I'm gonna be adjusting the next screwdriver and see what's the change. Now the focus. So I'm gonna go and open this one. So it says set up the external control clockwise, and then you have to play with the focus. So I'm gonna be doing that. So we have two potentiometers for setting the vertical and horizontal focus. I'm not gonna touch them. And then we have another potentiometer to set the whole focus. So I'm going to be doing that right now until this looks like focused, which it does. Yeah, it does. Okay, so next I'm gonna set up the video, but there are two options. One is when you have a potentiometer here for setting the screen, for adjusting the screen. The other one is you have to set a bunch of things. So I don't have the potentiometer here. So what I'm going to do show you how to set up the video without the screen potentiometer. Okay, so the service manual tells us that we should go ahead and set the screen to black, and I'm gonna turn the brightness and the contrast, these two, to the minimum, which is fully counterclockwise. So I'm gonna be doing that, and also it tells us to adjust the sub right, so which is this one. So I'm going to be also setting this fully counterclockwise. So I have now switched the monitor, and we're gonna be adjusting the cutoff. So to adjust the cutoff, what I'm going to be doing is I'm gonna be attaching two alligator clips in here and here. So test point 1 and test point 1 and test point 2. So for test point 1, I'm gonna set it up with the positive on with a multimeter. So I have the multimeter here set for DC voltage. And then we're going to be adjusting the bias or bias, I don't know how to call it. So I'm going to invert it, I'm going to flip this, and we will be right back. So I'm going to be adjusting the bias in here, and so I have the multimeter set on DC volt in here, as you can see. Hopefully you can see. And I need to set this potentiometer so I can get 55 volts. So I'm gonna turn on the monitor like so. I have 54 now, and oh, 55.1. Actually, that's really, really, really good. So I'm not gonna touch this because it's supposed to be 55 plus or minus 1, and it's 55.02. So we're good on this side. Perfect. So let's move to the next one. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this app, and I'm gonna set the grayscale, and I'm going to set the sub right to the middle. So I have it like this. I have a marker in here, and I'm gonna flip it like this. Okay, and then using a plastic screwdriver, I'm going to set the cutoff. So finally we need to set up the cutoff so this side is black. I have preset it already, and this is the part that to me is like the most scary because it's all the way back to the neckboard. But with so if you see, I'm going to be moving it a little bit. You can see that I can adjust this, and if I move the brightness, this gets better. So I'm going to reset the brightness to half the point. I'm going to have it so I can differentiate between these two lines. Maybe on the camera it cannot be seen that well, but I can differentiate now these two lines. And that should be it. All right, so there you have it. It was quite fiddly, mainly to setting the cutoff with the sub right and the brightness controllers in here. But now I can like set the brightness, set the contrast also, and I have this band is fully black when the contrast and the brightness are in the middle. So I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm gonna be assembling this, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.